Hello, wonderful music-making citizens of the intraweb. In this tutorial I'll show you how to create a drum rack within Ableton Live with multiple samples per cell, allowing you to quickly change your drum hits on the fly and to randomize the whole drum rack. This is a super useful way of quickly creating new beats and concepts, and it only takes a few minutes to make, so let's get started. I have an empty drum rack on channel 1 and I gathered some one-shot samples divided into 7 different categories, being claps, crashes, hats, kicks, percussions, rides and snares. So let's start with the kicks first, since I prefer to have them on the first cell. So in this case I have 10 different kicks, and if you drag them onto one of the cells in drum rack, you can see that it tries to populate basically one sample per cell. But if you hold down the command key on a Mac or Alt on Windows, it will actually put all of the samples onto a single cell, creating a instrument rack right here. Now, if I were to play this, this cell would actually play all 10 samples at the same time, and that's not what we want. So let's go to Chain, scroll down, and since we have 10 different samples, we can set this at 9, because we want to go from 0 to 9, and then you simply right click and say distribute ranges equally. Now you also want to show your macro view, and then you click map, select your chain selector and map this to macro 1. The next step is to go to your drum rack, also open up the macro view, select your instrument, rename this so you can remember what it is, kick. Now click on map, choose your chain selector and map this to macro 1, and let's call this kick as well. One thing you do have to realize though is that this macro goes from 0 to 127, and this only has 10 different options, so you need to go to the mapping view right here and change this maximum number to 9 in this case. Alright, let's continue with snares. Got 10 snares as well. Drag them using command and dragging them onto the next cell. Show chain, scroll down, distribute ranges equally. View your macros, map, chain selector, macro 1, map, chain selector, macro 2, rename snare. Right, I'm just going to speed up the video and do the rest with the remaining samples. Alright, and we're done. So what we can do now, let me just close this. Let's say we create a simple drum and bass break. Now let's say you don't like the snare. Now you can just change your snare drum to something different. But the cool thing here is that you can actually randomize everything on the fly. So since Ableton Live 11 has these randomizing features under the drum rack, this is going to be very powerful. And if you like certain combinations, you can just create a variation here and just say, okay, this is my beat 1, and then maybe randomize it. Create a new one. So you can basically create presets within the drum rack that way. So I hope you found this useful and have a splendid day. Cheers.